Welcome back. Another edition of Mountbatten. Pretty simple. It's that squashed little oval in the right corner. The race is about 42 minutes. Got my speed, my power. Decent field out tonight. There's about 15 of us, which is pretty standard for a midsummer evening crit. My plan is pretty simple. I'm not that strong compared to the fastest guys in this race, but I've got a decent sprint, so I've just got to get to the finish in the front group. We've got a good group of us. We've got a national champion all the way from the Caribbean with us this evening, Mr. Red Walters, who is sat just behind me at the moment, behind this lovely 360 camera that he's loaned me. Other notable names: Stephen Swinley in the Royal Navy kit, quite a big guy, really tall, 2 wheels ahead of me on the blue bike. Sam Shepherd, train sharp, and then Rory in I've forgotten his team name, but he's in black kit. 360 cam, so you get to have some nice angles like this of me being a little aero gremlin. Don't tell the UCI about me gripping the levers like that. I wanted to keep it pretty calm at the start of this race and try and ride into it later on, because everyone's fresh and everyone will chase it down. But 3.5 minutes in, there he is, Mr. Red Walters in his Continental X-Speed National Champs kit. Just slips away and nobody wants to respond, and this is not ideal. Stephen straight over the top, really good time trial this Stephen, so he's a good guy to have in a breakaway. And then Rory over the top, so probably 3 of the strongest rides in the race. Cut to 4 minutes. Sam Shepherd has gone off the front as well, so that's the 4 strongest people in this race have all gone. I don't really want to have to jump across this solo, so I just kind of roll through, try and get a rotation going. I swing up after my turn and there's no one behind me, so I'm like, okay, quick decision there, I'm going to have to go on my own if nobody wants to work in this group. So I do have to kind of bridge solo and use up quite a bit of energy 4 minutes into the race, which is not ideal, but I make it to Sam's wheel. Sam does a monster turn to bring us to the back of the breakaway of the 3 guys that are ahead. He's about to swing off, and I'm about to do a bit of a dick move and surge through onto the back of the group to make sure he doesn't get a bit of a draft. Because when he swings off, my thinking was maybe he's just ridden to exhaustion and he can't close the gap because he's finished. So if I can kind of sprint across and he gets popped, that's only 4 of us in the break rather than 5. But no, I just kind of look like a dick doing this. There you go, flicks me through and I close the rest of the gap at 600 watts, which I didn't. Obviously, in hindsight, I kind of regret doing, but you know, live and learn. It's all part of the racing. But I'm about to cut forward in the footage, and we do eventually get caught. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too early in the race. The group behind us, you can see it just in the background, they're working really well together. They're all pretty fresh, so they bring us back. And 12 minutes, just before 12 minutes in, we're all a big group again. This lap they're on at the moment is a blue flag lap, so it's a preem lap. So the first person across the line coming up gets £15, which is a free entry to next week. Red launches it off the front with George on the wheel there. I kind of get a bit unlucky that I wanted to go underneath, but he swings up just at the same moment I'm trying to go underneath, so I have to go over the top. But this does cause a bit of separation. Red looks behind, he sees the gap. I know there's a gap behind me. I shout at him to get his head down, and we do get away a little bit. 3 come and join us, and it's the same 5-man breakaway that went away earlier. So more kind of proof that these 4 that I'm with are pretty strong. Unfortunately though, I have eyes bigger than my legs, and I get popped out eventually after 17 minutes, which is not ideal. But basically I just didn't have the legs, kind of used it all up in the bridge and that first breakaway, and the guys were absolutely hooning it, and we weren't getting a gap on the group behind big enough, and I do get brought back. I do pull quite a lot in this group. I don't want to make it easy for the breakaway ahead, but eventually skip to the sprint. The 4 got a lap. I'm racing for 5th out of this group in the sprint. That's the situation coming in with about 7 minutes to go. This is kind of like track rules, where if a breakaway laps, you all finish on the same lap, but the guys that are in the breakaway just finish a lap ahead. So there's 4 guys in this break. There's 4 guys in this race that are racing for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. and then the rest of us are racing for 5th. But you'll see that guy in the white right in the middle has just rolled off the front of this group, and he's one of the guys that I'm racing for 5th, and then we've cut forward a few minutes and he's got a massive gap. So now I'm in the tricky position where I need to make sure that he comes back, that we bring him back, so that I can race for 5th and not 6th, but that I don't do so much work that I ruin myself and then I can't actually sprint properly. But there's a few attacks trying to get over, but nothing crazy, just kind of closing the gaps when they appear, and then I do eventually start pulling through on the front, as we're about to see here. You've got people skipping turns in front of me. There's only about three or four of us pulling turns on the front here. There you go. You saw the lap board there for three laps to go. As Sam doing a monster turn on the front, we were doing a lot of work to try and bring this back. But he's just about to swing up. I'm about to do a little turn, but just enough. We're actually chasing. There's 2 people ahead of us. The one that's closest to the lap rider, and then we're chasing the one ahead of him. So the gap is still pretty big. That's still probably kind of 50-60 meters or so, which is hard to close. If we all look at each other once, that can balloon out quite a bit. But you can see there's only 4 of us that are kind of pulling through here. As we roll through for 2 laps to go underneath. So the gap's coming down a little bit, but it's still only about 40 meters or so. I'm not getting too scared at this moment, but I need to be really, really focused that if it slows up a little bit, I need to keep the pace on. Otherwise, yeah, it's game over really. But we're coming up on about 1.5 laps to go. I'm about to do one of my final turns on the front. The camera's going to pan around because when I do this turn, nothing crazy, but I look around and there's a gap on my wheel. So I've kind of been backed into a corner here. If I slow up and I ease up, suddenly all of us have eased up and the guy gets away for 5th. If I just do another turn, then I'm vulnerable to being overtaken. So I have to kind of sprint early, hopefully nobody follows, and then I can go off my own. But they do follow me. So I kind of have to fall back into the group. I slow up quite a bit, and then 1, have to be checked. 2, another little check. Red kind of gives me a check, and then Rory over the top. I have to kind of slow down again, so not the cleanest sprint from me here. But you'll see as we come around, those are the 4 racing for the win, so I'm not really fussed about those guys. This guy on the inside is 5th, so I'm sprinting for 5th at the moment. End up getting it pretty comfortably as Sam gets his arms up in the air for the win at Mountbatten, round probably 500. I know I've done about 20 of them this year. So I grabbed 5th, dropped the brake, won the sprint. Happened so many times this year, but a good, fun race regardless. Thanks for watching. There'll be another one in a few days where I do slightly better than this. What else I need to say? Buy my t-shirt.